Yo, what's up, everybody? All right, so like you can see, the title of today is DC is slop. Period. That's exactly where I stand, and that's what I believe in. And yo, you don't have to agree with my opinion. And just seeing how these James Gunn fans are coming out and stuff like that, they're all just straight up, they're just coming at me every way and stuff like that. But it's all good though. Vegeta, what's up? Reynaldo, what's up? Okay, where did the what the Jago? What's up, man? Appreciate y'all for watching, for tuning in, and all that good stuff. I just felt that we got to talk about this just because this is right now a hot topic right now, and everybody's talking about this and things like that. So that's pretty cool. Sean, what up? Appreciate y'all for watching, for tuning in. I know all these notifications. We're waiting for people to join in and stuff like that. So this is something interesting and fun, but at the same time, we just have to talk about it just because. So look, honestly, as a DC fan, I'm not happy with what DC is doing right now. I'm not interested, and it's just it's sloppy. That's all it is. It's completely sloppy all over, and I am just not interested, and many fans are not, honestly. You saw the clip on YouTube with a mess. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Ace, what up? Um, what are you doing? Nothing. Just here chilling, just vibing with y'all and stuff like that while we talk about DC and how of a mess this is right now. You just watched American Psycho film analysis. Cool, cool. If you're enjoying that, watch it. I'm not really coming at you. I was just saying that Superman movie 2025 is technically not a super flop. That's cool if that's your opinion. I mean, it is what it is. It's a flop, so that's what it is, honestly. So they just made back their budget, so that's good for them, I guess. But yeah, they're not really making profit with this movie. So if you want to call that's a success, just it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care, honestly, with James Gunn. I'm not interested in this DC and everything that they're doing and stuff right now. Yeah, exactly. It's a super flop. That's it. It's just things keep on tanking and keep on going down. I've been reading the comments and stuff, and I've been seeing what people have been putting and things like that. So, yeah, it's cool to disagree. Nothing, no hard feelings and things like that. But some fans, man, damn, like honestly, like I had to block some clowns and delete the comments for some clowns because they come here and they just try to like bring in their opinion, and like I have to accept it, but I just don't have time for that, honestly. How's the comic going? It's going good. I've already got I think it's like 10 pages. They're fully already complete. So now I'm working from, I have to start on page 11 and to the end. So that's 32. So whatever is remaining on that, that's what I have to work on and stuff like that. Um yeah, but it's coming along good so far. I like what it's looking like and stuff like that. Every kingdom falls. Now it's DC's turn. Yeah, exactly. It's a shame. It's really a shame because they could have been capitalizing and making all their fans happy, but they refuse to do that. It's like they really, really don't care, honestly. Look at Marvel. The mighty Marvel has fallen, and all the blame is coming down on Kevin Feige right now. And it's no surprise, and it is what it is. They brought this upon themselves. The same thing with DC right now. And James Gunn is not the solution. And seeing everything with Peacemaker, this was all planned out from a long time ago. And this wasn't overnight. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing, because everything was already planned from the beginning of what they wanted to do. James Gunn straight up wanted to delete and erase the Snyderverse, and he's finally done it. He's finally done it. He's accomplished the goal that he was sent to do, and it's a shame. It's honestly a shame. Don't worry, King Deadpool is going to show Superman 2025 how it's done with making money and breaking records. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's crazy, it's just it's insane. Like if you're enjoying Peacemaker and Superman and this whole DCU, that's good for y'all. I can't say the same thing. I just can't, honestly. You see a crown that people have in the comments. I wonder what someone could go higher than 75. Yeah, I don't know how that works, honestly. That's something new that YouTube has been doing. Top fans, I guess is the most you interact and things like that. I really don't know. I don't have no control over that. That's, I guess, just a automatic thing that YouTube has, and now they do that on the live streams and stuff like that. Marvel's Doom movie. What? Hold on, let me catch that. It's a disaster at Marvel's Doom movie. Yeah, yeah. Let's see what the hell they're gonna do with that and stuff like that. They're bandwagoners from MCU who hated on DC when it threatened the MCU with Batman versus Superman. Yeah, exactly, exactly. When you have Marvel and you have the executives coming out at Marvel, the direct competition, and they're like, "Yo, we actually made Captain America versus Iron Man on purpose, and we released it around the same time as DC with Batman versus Superman." That's straight up a jab, honestly. You know, like that's straight up a jab, and DC should have just capitalized. They should have just said, "You know what? We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Screw Rotten Tomatoes, screw the critics, and just keep going with the Snyderverse." And I guarantee you, they would have never been in this situation. And that's what I'm telling you. Marvel sent Joss Whedon. Marvel sent Kevin Feige on the set when they were filming the Suicide Squad. Marvel's also sent what's his name, this guy, Chris Pratt, and Marvel has also been sending now James Gunn, and James Gunn has accomplished the job, you know. And I'm starting to think now it's official. I think this is just me speculating that Walter Hamada, Kevin Sujihara, Ann Sarnoff, Toby Emmerich, all these people, they were all paid. They were all on Disney's payroll. That's what I'm starting to think at. You know, with everything that now it's confirmed with this whole quote unquote reboot and with James Gunn and stuff like that. You know, like it just doesn't make sense. This is what they wanted. They wanted to get away and they wanted to delete the Snyderverse, and it's done. And it's done. It's crazy. But here's the big but. Jokes on them, because I've been telling y'all, do not sleep on Comcast 2025. That's where I think the Snyderverse is gonna get restored. Honestly, I see it. I see that that's what's gonna happen. That's what's coming, and you know, once that does come into play, perfect. You know, because WB won't be able to say nothing, and they won't have no authority, because if Comcast buys out HBO Max and they want to do like I've been telling y'all for a minute about DC alternative content, yo, that's where we're looking at, baby. I'm telling you right now, that's where it all could be, you know, heading into. And with the way that they like separated, if you want to say, now the DCU from the DCEU with the Snyderverse mainly, all right, that's cool. That's cool. It opens the door to a bigger and better, you know, thing that's to come, and it would be on HBO Max. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, if that does happen, which I think it's gonna happen, oh, you better get ready, because no matter what they try to put out with James Gunn and his DCU, it will not be able to top once the Snyderverse gets restored. So in other words, this is heating up to become the DCEU versus the DCU. Now you can't come at me with no, oh, but it was a reboot and this and that. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. This ain't no damn reboot. This is straight up, it was just to erase the Snyderverse. That's all. James Gunn was the man to do the job, and he did it, and they accomplished it. WB did it. They did it. They used James Gunn to fully delete the Snyderverse and do and move away from it. All right, that's cool. Y'all want to play like that? That's cool. We're gonna continue to keep our wallets closed, and they're gonna stay locked. Period. Because everything you're gonna put out, it's completely not going to work. And then now everything now begins the end of what they wanted to do, and it's already proven. You know, this is what I was telling y'all for a while. You're gonna see the shills. Oh, the new norm is a flop, and that's what we're seeing with Superman. You know, they're all praising Superman because it made its budget back. Okay, but where's the profit now? You know, and it just made it to the top. I think what is it, the top 10 or of the charts of digital and stuff like that. And you know, it's like it's crazy. It's crazy how they try to normalize a flop, that it's the best thing just because it's a quote unquote reboot, you know. And it's just pathetic on their part. I think that's just completely pathetic on the studio's part for allowing all of this to be happening and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, for sure, we're gonna keep up the fight. This is not stopping us. This is not holding us back until Zack Snyder himself comes out and says, "Hey, stop fighting. It's over. We're done. We will stop at nothing. Period. There's no stopping us," and stuff like that. James Gunn needs to be investigating hardcore. Really does. He really does. Let's see. Yeah, James Gunn ruined DC completely. You know. Let's see. Wallets closed until James Gunn is out. Yeah, yeah. That's why I can't wait for next year. His contract is up. Time is running out on him. Honestly. And he knows it. He knows it. This is why he's trying to do everything that he's doing right now, and just leaving his quote unquote mess of a legacy behind him, just because he wants to do what James Gunn wants to do. James Gunn just wants to go out of DC when his contract is up as the Gunverse. That's it. All right, you got your Gunverse. That's it. You got it. He's gonna screw everything and everyone in his way. And the next one that he's gonna screw over is Matt Reeves. I'm telling y'all, because rumor has it that Matt Reeves is bending the knee and his Batman will be joining the DCU. I've been telling y'all for a minute that's what's probably going to happen. It's either he joins it or it's gonna get canceled. And now they're gonna start production. I think they're gonna start filming soon. So the script's already ready and things like that. But that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because in the end, James Gunn only wants what James Gunn wants, and that's it. He doesn't care about nobody or anything else. All he cares about is his stupidity, his raunchiness, nudity, orgies. Come on, yo! Like this is what DC has become. It's a joke. It's completely a joke, honestly. This is why I'm keeping my wallet closed, and that's it. Because it's just not even worth it, honestly. Um, yeah, a lot of us feel like that. Right now we don't care about DC or Marvel. Yep, I agree with you. No one will remember Superman 2025 in 2 years. They're not gonna even remember it in straight up less than a year. They're just not, because people are gonna be like, yeah, I remember that piece of crap movie. They're gonna come out like that saying it and things like that. So have what? So have with y'all Doom movie. I'll probably watch it free anyway. Yeah, a lot of us probably gonna do that too. So we will see what's happening and stuff like that. Lady CC, what's up? Appreciate you for watching. Also stopping by to say hello. Keep up the good fight. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Peacemaker is a degenerate. Yeah, exactly. It's wild, honestly. Like it completely, it completely, like I'm in shock. I'm in shock. Like, and you see all the sick, perverted James Gunn fans. If you don't fall into that category and you don't get offended by what I just said, then this doesn't apply to you. If you got offended by what I just said, those sick James Gunn cultist, perverted, raunchy, sick, twisted bastards, you're the part. You're part of the problem, honestly. And if you got offended, good, good. I'm glad, because you're the reason why this industry is the way it is right now. And I'm gonna be real with you. I've been seeing a lot of comments, like on social media, and people are praising that orgy scene. I don't know what it's about. I don't care about it. That has nothing to do with what like. Yo, what the hell? This is what James Gunn brings. This is what he brings, and all these sick people that are applauding that, praising that, worshiping that, are disgusting, are vile, and are part of the problem. And that is what's ruining our entertainment, because they're more concerned and they're more interested about a damn orgy scene instead of them focusing on the characters. No, no, that's not important. Screw the fans and screw everybody that doesn't, that wants quality. Oh no, we don't want quality. We're gonna focus mainly on like the sexuality. And yo, I don't care about that. Many of us do not care about that. This is why this industry is down the toilet and it's clogged up because of nonsense like this. It's completely insane to see this. Um, I'm not offended, but you like the DCU. All right, cool. That's cool. That doesn't apply to you. But like to the other ones that they've been coming, like since I posted that video, it's like, yo, they're in their feelings, and I'm like, wow. It just tells you everything, honestly. And it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy how WB wanted to be like Marvel. They really wanted to be like Marvel, and not only have they become worse than Marvel, it's gotten out of control. It's so raunchy, it's so perverted, it's so sick and twisted, catered to all those sick weirdos. And that's what they love. But they prefer that instead of the actual entertainment, of the characters and the lore and what this, universe with whatever the hell they're trying to do. That's all they care about. So that's why I'm glad that Superman flopped. I'm glad that everything else that's coming out is not working, and they're gonna have to learn the hard way. Fans are turned off, and it's crazy. They pick and choose. They let James Gunn do whatever the hell he wants to do, but it's a problem when Zack Snyder and David Ayer wanted to do something hardcore and badass. When it came to pleasing the fans, that was a problem. That's the hypocrisy of WB. That's the hypocrisy of these fake fans. And it's like, oh no, that's a problem. We can't do that. We can't cater to the fans. We can't give fans what they want. No, no, no. We got to do a quick cash grab. Screw the fans, and we're gonna, rip them off, and they're gonna still buy it. No, no. Enough is enough. People have finally woken up. They're waking up, and they're tired of this nonsense. And they're seeing it. People are just fed up with it. They are completely tired, and they're moving away. This is why you see that Fantastic Four tanked, Superman flopped, Thunderbolts did bad at the box office, the Captain America, the most recent one, because it's all trash. That's what it is. It's all trash. They don't even know who they're catering to anymore. They have no clue. Both companies, WB and Disney, they have no clue. They've lost, the audience, and they're like, "Yo, let's do a quick cash grab." This is why now Marvel's going back and doing what they did with Deadpool and Wolverine, try to cater to the old audience, the new generation and the future generation, because it's going back to the old, like the old characters from like 2000s or whatever, and now, and then what they're setting up for the future, which is pretty wild, honestly. These are the same freaks who said women are being disrespected, but the first what? But the first to use a woman as an object. Yeah, exactly. Because they all have agendas. That's the problem. And it's clear now. All of these James Gunn cultists, straight up, all majority, are down with the alphabet, if you get what I'm saying. And they're just about pushing an agenda. That's it. They don't care about nothing as long as they push their agenda. And again, now with what they're doing with Peacemaker, and saying that his sexuality is more important than whatever the hell's going on. We're about to show you. The fans are about to show you, yo, we are done with this. Like people everywhere are feeling the same way. Honestly, they really are. It's nuts. Honestly. Let's see. All right. Superman Returns flopped. Get this, Superman 2025 actually flopped harder than Superman Returns. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you do some math, Superman 2025 ended up losing more at the theaters. Yeah, exactly. Completely. They lost a lot of money, and they're still losing money. But yet they want to justify it, right? And they want to say, hey, it's okay. It's okay because the new norm is just a flop. And it's pathetic what this industry has become, honestly. Preach, what up? What up? You already know. Hell yeah, wallet's closed. You already know, my friend. Let's see. Gun lovers are in denial that Superman is a flop, and in digital sales. Yeah, exactly. Completely is it's a massive flop. It's embarrassing. Honestly, if I was WB, I would be so embarrassed because I'll be like, damn, we've been around for 100 years, and we had 12 years to prove, if you want to prove the Snyder fans wrong, and you proved us right. When you add it up, when you add inflation, this is all just straight up, like somebody posted on the comments. This is all, what is it, a scam. That's all it was. It was all a scam, and we proved them. People nowadays are soft. They freak out over good entertainment and badass. Yeah, exactly. That's what I miss about the 90s. People were more badass back then. Everybody, from kids to the oldest person. Now everybody's sensitive. You can't say this, you can't say that. You can't have an opinion because your opinion offends others. Screw it. That's what opinions are for. To agree or disagree. That's it. Now, anybody taking it personal, they're the ones with the problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not my fault somebody gets offended by what I post and what I say. That's not my problem. It's not my problem hey, let me put this post because you might feel a certain way. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, honestly. You already know, Fabian. Restore Snyderverse. You know it's. Nah, I see your comments. I'm just going through all of them and stuff like that, just picking out the ones that like straight up just, if I acknowledge your comics is I mean your comments is because I acknowledged it. 100% inside the closed doors, they are pissed and embarrassed. Yeah, hell yeah. You imagine the meetings that they're having at WB, like going at it, blaming each other, the blame game. But yeah, that's what they're doing and stuff right now. You think Peacemaker is going to open up the eyes of a lot of odd people and is also going to flop hard? Yeah, yeah, exactly. A lot of weirdos are looking at that show, honestly. I am not watching that crap. Like that's why I just did my research. I saw with the spoilers, I was actually looking for the spoilers. That's why I went and I talked about that video today, you know. But it's funny because I post that video and it doesn't have that many views, but it shows you because again, the James Gunn cultists are salty and they're bitter because they don't like to hear the reality. That's what it is, you know. And when you give that to them, they just don't know what to say. You know, it just triggers them. Exactly. That ended in the 2000s. Yeah, exactly. In the 2000s, when like people started getting all sensitive towards everything, it's like crazy. You know, it's crazy. It's nuts. It's really really nuts. They're making every teenager and young man like Tom Holland. Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of that too. This is why I like to see like what Zach did with his cast, what David Ayer did with his cast. I don't like what James Gunn does because James Gunn just likes to bring in all these geriatrics, and you know, like he likes to have them and they're superheroes or they're whatever they are mixed with like a young generation where it's like what the hell, you know, which one of the two do you want to go with? Zach and David Ayer, they focus, you know, with a right type of cast when they cast their characters and stuff like that. And the same thing with Michael Bay. That's what I love about him. He does the same thing too. He knows how to cast, you know, the actors and actresses and stuff like that for what that universe is, you know. And it's not gonna please everybody, but it is what it is. Are you looking forward to more Deadpool in the MCU? Yeah, Deadpool's always Deadpool, you know. So I'm looking forward to that. I sorry if I mispronounced the names. I guess it's pronounced OZGE. I don't know. Demir, I guess. Hey, what's up? What's up? Appreciate you for watching also. Yeah, the 90s were just as soft as today. I personally, there was never a generation that wasn't soft. Yeah, there's always, you know, like a soft side of the generation, but they're so soft and they're straight up like a marshmallow right now. Like, you just really can't say nothing because everything offends everybody, you know? Like, straight up, you throw a fart and you know like they want to cancel you for that, you know. It's like, yo, seriously, like let's be real, you know, like come on, come on, let's be real, you know. That's the problem with with this generation and stuff, you know. Everything, you know, it's crazy, and we saw it during the pandemic. Who would have thought people were going to be acting and reacting the way that they were during 2020 with the pandemic for freaking wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, you know? It's like it's bonkers. It just tells you everything, you know. It's pretty nuts. They said Supergirl would make more money than Spider Man. Ha! Yeah, right. We know that's not gonna happen. Yeah, Spider Man is Spider Man, and we already know. You know, it's like straight up. I'm ready to watch that new Spider Man. I personally believe there wasn't a generation that wasn't soft. Yeah, every generation has a soft side, if you want to say. But it's gotten so sensitive where everything, like right now, is just completely like everybody has turned everything into politics, and this is what happens when you mix politics with entertainment. This is why you don't see me talking about politics, because one, I don't give a damn, and two, I just don't give a damn, straight up. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you know, like this and that. I don't care. I really don't care. You know, like I'm focused on the entertainment side. I don't care about everything has politics. Everything. It doesn't matter on what you think. Everything has politics, you know, in this industry, unfortunately. But you don't have to bring that into the entertainment side. You know, they just have to keep it separate, but you know, they don't know how to keep it separate. They love to combine both of them and stuff like that. So let's see. You just saw TMT at the theaters and it was awesome. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I know it's going back again. I'm gonna try to see if I could go see that if I remember, but I'm probably gonna try to see if I could go check it out because I think it's on Tuesday. They're gonna play Batman Returns. That one I do want to go see again at the theaters because that's my favorite one, honestly. Between you know 89 and 92, I prefer more Batman Returns and stuff. The only difference is everyone can voice their opinion online. If folks in the 80s and 90s had the internet, they would act the same way we are. Yeah, yeah. Do you think we'll get a Rebel Moon 3? Yeah, hell yeah. Rebel Moon 3. All right. I spoke about that recently. Zach's right now doing that movie, The Last Photograph. Once that's done, he's going to be filming that UFC movie. Remember, he's busy for the next almost 3 years right now. So once he's done with these two, then he's moving back to Rebel Moon. And then don't forget, because that's what he said in an interview back. The most recent one was, I think it was like in April or something like that. And they asked him about it. And he's like, yeah, it's just, I'm so busy right now that once I'm done, he's going to go back to Rebel Moon to continue the story and stuff like that. So that's why it's funny when people are like, oh, what about, you know, Rebel Moon is dead and it's not, it's this and that. Are you not paying attention? You straight up trolls. Zack Snyder is busy right now. He's getting paid a lot of money to do two different movies. He's right now doing the last photograph, and he's gonna be doing that UFC movie. Two big projects, two separate IPs, two different type of movies. And like I've been saying it, even though Zack is not making DC content, that's fine. As long as Zack Snyder's still making movies, the Snyderverse lives. Period. It doesn't have to pertain. Oh, it has to be about DC. Oh, it has to be about this and that. Yo, he's still making movies. The Snyderverse lives. Period. It's just that these trolls and the fake media just want for Zach not to be in the spotlight. That's what hurts them. They don't like that. They don't like when you deliver quality. That's what pisses them off. And the more you give it to them, honestly, it's lovely to see how these meltdowns are going on, online and stuff like that. Notice how they're shilling for Peacemaker. Oh, it's a solid 10. Oh, because Rotten Tomatoes can kiss my ass, honestly. I don't need Rotten Tomatoes to tell me and say, hey, this is good or it's not. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it. If I don't, I don't, and it is what it is. 89 Returns is superior to Nolan and Pattinson. Yeah, hell yeah. Honestly, Nolan's was good. Don't get me wrong, but 89 and Returns, for a comic book movie, if you want to say, they were on point. Honestly, they were really on point. And what we got with Christopher Nolan for like a real life, modern life setting, if you want to say, yeah, he was on point. Now, what Matt Reeves is doing with Robert Pattinson, that's just a straight up copy and paste from what Christopher Nolan did, and it's already been done. So that's why I'm like, I don't even care. They did have blue hair who said Supergirl will be better than Spider Man. Batman Michael Keaton is the goat. Hell yeah, I agree with you. And for sure, Ben Affleck. But for some of the best films and TV shows, what have politics in them? Yeah, they all do. The original Star Wars was political. The difference is that it isn't preachy. Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing like Gundam. Gundam is straight up a politics anime. Straight up. It's all politics. I personally don't care, and it's not like shoved in your face like that, but that's what it is. I just love those robots. That's it. I just love to see those robots fighting, blowing up, and going at it. That's all I care about. I don't care about the story. You ask me about what's the real story, I'll be like, I don't know. I just know, and I like the robots. That's all I care about. I collect them, and that's it. Like I don't give two shits about the story. Honestly, I'm like, as long as they're just fighting, blasting each other, that's all I care about. Honestly, that's the entertainment side for me. I hope the last photograph and brawlers are theatrical. I think they are. I think they're gonna be for sure. The UFC movie is gonna be theatrical. But the last photograph, I hope it is. I really hope so. I hope it's not one of those like stuck to straight to streaming and stuff like that. We need a Keaton to meet Affleck in the Flash. Yeah, that would have been dope, honestly. And I'll talk about two things right now. Now that you said Keaton, Flash, um, what is it, Ben Affleck and Mike, and yeah, with Michael Keaton. I'll talk about that in a few seconds. I'm just trying to catch up with the comments and stuff like that. Nolan's Batman is a very political franchise. Yeah, it is. It is. I don't care about Matt Batman. I hope it gets canceled. Yeah, same. I agree with you, Vegeta, for sure. Restore the Keaton and Affleck verse. Yeah, for sure. All right, so look, let's talk about this real quick. I don't know if y'all heard, but Margot Robbie came out and she spoke, and apparently, when they were doing Birds of Prey, they were going to have Penguin, but they didn't do that because Matt Reeves wanted to bring in Penguin into his universe. That's why we didn't see it. So they replaced Penguin in the DCEU with Black Mask. Would you look at that? So that's what I'm saying. This has all been planned out. They knew exactly what the hell they were doing behind closed doors. This wasn't like an overnight thing. They knew they were all plotting. And this is why, like I said, this is not a coincidence. And with that, let's not forget, because Alfred, I think it was when Batman versus Superman, or it was in Justice League, I don't remember now, when he's like the wind up penguins, it was like a reference to Penguin that they're acknowledging that he's from that universe. And we were supposed to get him in Birds of Prey. Now, Birds of Prey, we know it went through a whole bunch of like hands, if you want to say, until we got the slop in the end of what we got, because we know that Jared Leto was supposed to reprise his role, but the studio, who knows what the hell happened? Drama behind closed doors, and I still blame Toby Emmerich for everything that happened, that went down and stuff like that. He's the main one that was ruining everything. Let's not forget he was one of the executive producers and stuff like that. When you go back and watch these movies, he's on a lot of credits, so he had power in that sense because he's an executive producer. And they get to say, when once you're a producer or an executive producer, you have power. That means that you can also say what goes on because you're putting money. That's what the producer does. And when you're the executive producer, you're even a higher rank. So it's like saying, hey, look, I'm putting this much money, so I get to say a little bit above a regular producer. So it happens, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. And you know, it's crazy how these things were supposed to build up and open the doors to more things within the DCEU. This is why, like I say, look, I don't like and I can't stand Walter Hamada, but let's give the dude credit. At least he tried. But what I'm starting to notice now with everything that's going on, it was just the people above him and of course Toby Emmerich that were putting pressure on him. Hey, we need to get rid of everything of what Zack Snyder has created. Because remember, since the beginning, Toby Emmerich has been in there. He was up there and he was giving hell to Zack Snyder. And once Batman versus Superman came out, that's why we got the disaster that we got because Toby Emmerich got in the way. And Christopher Nolan was the one that backed up Zack with Man of Steel. Notice how with Man of Steel there's no drama because Christopher Nolan was there. So WB was ready to, they were trying to screw around, but they couldn't because Christopher Nolan was like, yo, I just did you the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm bringing you in Zack Snyder. Don't mess around with him. So he was under his wing and his protection, if you want to say. So he was good. That's why they didn't touch Man of Steel. And then everything started with Batman versus Superman because now Zack is on his own. Christopher Nolan is no longer around. He's probably somewhere around during the time, but he wasn't involved in it. He probably, was part like money wise and stuff like that, but like he wasn't really involved like in Man of Steel. And then of course you have all these rats and snakes around, and of course you have Disney that's sending their moles. So that's what they did. What they did with Batman versus Superman. Since Batman versus Superman till Zack Snyder's Justice League, we kept on getting heat left and right, constantly, constantly, constantly. And then when David Ayer came on board and they did what they did with Suicide Squad, the same thing. Because remember, the original plans we were supposed to get with David Ayer, we were supposed to get Suicide Squad. We were supposed to get, I think, a Suicide Squad 2, and then we were supposed to get, or before Suicide Squad 2, I think we were supposed to get Gotham City Sirens. And notice how they just went silent after, with Suicide Squad. Because, of course, WB wanted more money. And back then, 800 million is not enough. Yeah, look at where it's at now. It's even worse. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the hypocrisy of the studio. Yeah, Jeff Johns. Oh, that's another scumbag. That scumbag. Jeff Johns is another one too. He made everything so damn complicated. And it's like all these people, once they were there, and slowly, one by one, they all started literally leaving. They started dropping, and they're no longer there. And what do we have now? James Gunn. He's the last one of the headship, if you want to say. But his time is coming. He'll be out of WB soon. This is why I say enjoy those 5 minutes of fame because once that's done, it's gonna be over, baby. It's gonna be over. Since 2017, they're already talking about Batman. That means most likely they were talking about Batman 2015. Yeah, exactly. They were already plotting behind the scenes. This means there won't be a Batman. Say good the what? Be two Batman. Say goodbye to Robert Pattinson. Yep, exactly. Because in the end, James Gunn's gonna keep his own, or he's gonna force Robert Pattinson to join his DCU. And I think that's where the fallout's gonna come. The head clashing is already starting, so we're gonna see a lot of things are gonna come. So we will see what's gonna come from this and stuff like that. So not always some executive producer title are just that titles. Yeah, but most of the time for you to get that title is just not just to say it. It's like you got me messed up if I'm gonna put somebody as an executive producer in one of my projects and be like just because like you have to be paying for that. You get what I'm saying? That's like prime real estate. You have to earn that, and the only way to earn it is by sometimes you have to put some money down. Some kind of money. Emmerich and Jeff Johns were the ones who wanted Zach gone. Yeah, and then everybody else that tagged along and stuff like that. Remember, Aunt Sarnoff was another scumbag too. I'm glad she's gone. The studios don't care about the stories. They don't care about the fans. They only care about, in the end, is the numbers. Yep. I agree with you. Johns went to Emmerich in the first place. He stopped all Zach's plans. Yeah. All those scumbags. I'm glad they're all gone. If you had to guess, what year do you think would be most likely for Zack Snyder to return for Justice League 2 and 3? Looking at it right now, I would say what we're in now, 25, maybe probably by like 20, maybe sometime late 28, early 29, just because he's working on those other productions and stuff like that. And that can easily take like about a good 2 years. I mean, look at how long he took with Rebel Moon. He took like 2 years, but the good thing is he filmed it back to back. He can do the same thing with Justice League 2 and 3. And he could film them both back to back, and finish and finally be complete with that and stuff like that. So probably by like late 28, maybe early 29, I would be saying. Because let's not forget, by the time he's done with these two projects that he's working on now, he's gonna come back for that 300 prequel. So that's gonna be interesting to see that also. So he's gonna be busy. He's busy right now, but he's gonna be even more busy and stuff like that. He's gonna force Pattinson to join because the first one made money. Yeah, it might. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? The next Sonic movie will destroy Superman. Yeah, I can't wait for that too. How do you think Comcast and HBO Max? What movie do you think they will put out first? I think they're gonna put out first the Air Cut. That will be the best way to go about it. And then from that, they can like announce, something special. Hey, we got something special planned for HBO Max, and they could do something like a decent fandom, but probably their own thing, or probably just make an announcement, plain and simple, like they did with the Snyder Cut, and just straight up, have Zach promote it and announce it and say, hey, look, this is just me speculating. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but it could go something like, hey, have Zack Snyder on it, and have David Ayer appear on it also, and say, hey, we're gonna give you guys exclusive, for signing up to HBO Max, the Air Cut, the famous Air Cut, and on top of that, we're gonna also do more DC alternative content from like what they've been saying, and boom, that will be the opportunity to like capitalize, and just with that they'll make a lot of noise, and it'll get viewership, it'll get subscribers, because people are gonna be interested. They're gonna be like, oh shit, they brought it back, like let's go on HBO Max, hell yeah, it's a series, oh hell yeah, because the Snyder Cut fit perfect, on HBO Max as a series. We know it's a movie, but originally it was gonna be like a series. That's why when you're watching it, it's part one, part two, part three, part four of within that movie and stuff like that. Can they do the same thing for Justice League 2 and 3 with Zack Snyder? Hell yeah, of course they can. And they can also announce the return of Ben Affleck and say, yo, we're gonna do the Dark Knight Returns with Ben Affleck. Boom, exclusive for HBO Max. On top of that, how Zach did when he had Henry Cavill, when they announced, I think it was the Snyder Cut right before it. They had Henry Cavill. He was talking and stuff like that, and they could do the same thing. They can announce, "Yo, we're gonna make Man of Steel 2 exclusive for HBO Max." Boom, that's another win right there too. It would be nice. It could happen too. Anything is possible. Like I said, you know, um, and especially now that they're branching off, the DCU is completely now separate from the DCEU. A lot of things can come from it. This is why I say, who knows? I mean, if Zack Snyder brought Jared Leto back to reprise the role as Joker, and if they want to do this whole what's canon, what's not, let's look at a perfect example: the tattoo on Joker's forehead. Everybody was like, "Yo, so is that still? Why is the tattoo not there? This and that." Screw it. It's just not part of it. That's it. The damage tattoo. So the same way that they're like retconning, quote unquote, with James Gunn and doing what he's doing, they could do the same thing. They can bring in The Rock and say, "Yo, we're gonna do Black Adam 2 exclusive for HBO Max." The same thing. Yo, we're bringing in Zachary Levi under the leadership of Zack Snyder, but we're gonna do Shazam 3. You see what I'm saying? Because you could capitalize even triple on it. And think about this. If it's exclusive for HBO Max, they could do them all R rated. They could do series where like every week they have an episode, like an hour episode, 45 minutes tops. And you know, they can have where these characters, these actors, actresses all come back under the guidance and leadership of Zack Snyder exclusive on HBO Max. And they could build so much content from that. See what I'm saying? They could do so much. They could do so much. So the possibilities are endless. They could do a whole bunch on HBO Max if they want, honestly. Um, yeah, it will be nuts. It will be nuts, honestly. Let's see. I need a documentary on the drama of WB. I don't see Superman being talked about 10 years from now. Nah, hell nah. I don't care about superhero content as long as Gunn isn't there. I'm busy watching Institute and Dexter Resurrection. Nice. Yeah, a lot of people don't care about James Gunn and stuff. It's 12 and people still talk about Yeah, 12 years and people still talk about Man of Steel. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Air and Air Cut account has no backbone by writing Gun. Yeah, man. You know what? They're straight up confused and they're just the same thing. Like that just shows you where they stand at. Honestly, because I just don't support James Gunn. Period. That's it. That's where I stand at. Do you think we will get the Batman Forever cut? It could happen on HBO Max. It can, if they get the rights to it. If not, probably not. Just because WB is WB, and it's just crazy. Bro, Zack Snyder's vision of Poison Ivy. I always wanted to see that. That would be nice. That would be nice to see. Poison Ivy in the Snyderverse. That would be awesome to see. Honestly. They were to course correct and not reboot. The DCU is dead. Yeah, yeah, completely. So what was the vision of Zack Snyder's plan? Well, originally the plan was that they were just gonna do 5 movies. Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. What was the other one? What is it? Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, Justice League 2, and Justice League 3. That was the original plan. That's it. Those 5 films. That's what Zach wanted to do, and it was supposed to be a done deal. And everything else was just branching off of it and stuff like that. So the original plans. That's the original plans. Those 5 films. But now what he did with the Snyder cut, setting and probably setting and opening the door to Justice League 2 from Zack Snyder, obviously. With the Nightmare timeline, who knows? Who knows what was going to come from that? Because Zack went back to the drawing board and, like, he has other plans for what he wanted to do, especially with after the Snyder cut, things changed. So he probably looked at the storyboard and said, you know what, we're going to go with a different, just edit it, who knows, and that's where the Nightmare timeline comes into play. It sets things up for the future. And again, with what we saw, we were supposed to get the John Stewart, the Lantern, his version, but they replaced it because Toby Emmerich wouldn't let WB let Zach use Green Lantern because they wanted to do this bullshit that they're doing right now with the lanterns to show whatever it is that they're trying to do. So, and we've seen the footage, not the video, but like we've seen pictures of it, with the actor and stuff like that, Wayne T. Carr, and he's come out, he said it too. So that was all supposed to be part of it, and then they just ended up squeezing. They replaced him with Martian Manhunter that we saw in the Snyder cut. So it was supposed to do a lot of things, but the original plan was that those 5 films. Um, but anything could change. Things they go back into the editing room. Things could get erased, fixed. It's just it comes with it. It comes with it. But we don't know now what Zack Snyder has for the plans for Justice League 2 and 3. Nobody knows. Only he knows. And he said it. He's like, he has some stories for it. And I'm glad he hasn't put anything out there because then that would be free ideas for Marvel and for James Gunn. So if he was to pitch that to HBO Max, if Comcast does acquire them and they want to do, DC alternative content, that would be the time to capitalize, honestly. And that would bring them so much money, honestly, just on the streaming service. They will go, if not or bigger than Netflix, and that would be massive, honestly. That would really, really like put them up there, because that's a big thing for them and stuff. Financially, talking about stuff like that. So that would be crazy. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so let me see. Sniper, alright. They were the course correct, not reboot. Yeah, we saw that one. Pattinson already isn't talked about, so Corn Sweat will be forgotten within 2 years. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. People are just not gonna remember none of that. Gun Lantern show will be garbage. Yeah, for sure, and it's gonna have a lot of profanity. That's probably just gonna be rated R because of that, and probably gonna add some more orgy scenes because of course what we're seeing with Peacemaker and stuff like that. So that's what James Gunn brings to the table. That's exactly what he likes and stuff. Probably gonna add a lot of nudity too. Hopefully they do. I'm gonna be honest with you, just to prove how shitty this universe is and stuff like that. So I didn't. Nobody's talking about Gun 10-year plan. Yeah, exactly. Nobody. I wonder why. Do you think what should release the Joel Schumacher cut or Batman Forever? Yeah, hell yeah. Joel Schumacher may be gone, but somebody else can release the director's cut. Yeah, exactly. It's a shame that WB never did anything with it, and they could have capitalized, made money, keep the fans happy, but instead they keep on doing what they think they know what's best for business. But in reality, they're just complete idiots. The Gun Goons are bragging about Superman Saga with Cornball Sweat getting 4 movies. Yeah, that's not gonna last long. I always ask how know about Darkseid coming for the anti-life equation when he did participate with the league. Um, hold on. I'm a little confused on that. You always ask how who's MM? I can't think right now, honestly. Oh, Martian Manhunter knew about Darkseid coming for the anti-life equation. When did he participate with the league? I mean, probably that's something that Zach would explain. Um, like in another movie, like in the second film, he's the man with the plan. He knows what he's doing. So, I trust that he would explain all that so it can all connect and stuff like that, because the Snyder Code was awesome, and I know a lot of people didn't like the epilogue scene, but I loved it. I love what Zach was setting up and preparing for the future of things to come with the Nightmare timeline. Like, that's something that I am interested in seeing. I want to see that actually take place, and what he left everything on, because like I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have now the remaining characters of the League, the Justice League. We have the Flash, we have Batman, we have Mara, we have Cyborg, we now have Joker, and we have also Deathstroke, and that would be something that I'm like, yo, why is Batman teaming up with Deathstroke? That's his nemesis, and Joker. You see what I'm saying? It's like, all right, cool. I don't care about none of that being comic accurate, honestly. I remember when Zach first posted that picture with Deathstroke and he had the mohawk. At first, we were all like, "Damn," like, because we're so used to seeing, Deathstroke without the helmet and his hair, all gray hair. But then the mohawk just grew on it, and I was like, "Yo, I'm feeling that." I'm like, "Okay, cool," it just grew on me, and I'm like, "Damn, I like it." I like what he did with Jared Leto's Joker. Now his hair's longer. We're talking about a nightmare timeline. Like this is the future. This is no longer the past. This is the future. This is what Zack Snyder's preparing for, to give us and bring us. Yo, in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, we're looking at a nightmare timeline. This is what, since Batman versus Superman, when Bruce had that vision of all of this nightmare that was supposed to come. This is why in the original plans it all falls under that. Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League 1, 2, and 3, because it was all supposed to connect. And I'm like, yo, Zach knew exactly what the hell he was doing. He was setting things up for future big events. Because now you're talking about Darkseid. This dude has taken over the planet. And it's like everybody's under Darkseid. Like, everybody's scared of this dude, like, finally the villain wins. Not like puss ass Thanos that, like, he does a snap and like he completely takes out everybody in the world, like a coward. Nah, we're talking about Darkseid. Like, you're either with him or you're against him. And if you're against him, you're straight up becoming a parademon. So it's like, yo, Zach cooked this scene up and he knew exactly what he was doing with these 6 characters. And I'm like, this I want to see. I want to see where the hell this is going to be heading, for what he's going to do in Justice League 2 and 3. And that's where everything ends. Everything is on a cliffhanger, in the sense where, like, all right, the Justice League finally sees Darkseid and we see future events. Wonder Woman is dead, but she was supposed to come back as the evil version later on and stuff. And we see now that Superman is under the control of Darkseid. So it's like, because of Lois Lane, that she died and stuff. So it was like, yo, Zach is cooking something really good. And I was like, damn, how does the studio not want to capitalize and continue on this? Oh, because it's too dark. Oh, it's too depressing. Get out of here with that. I want to see that. I want to see that Mad Max style of Batman and everything that they're doing with that universe. I want to see that. That looks fun as hell to me, and just like that, a lot of people also. And of course, let's not forget Lex Luthor's still there too. He's still somewhere in the background. He has a big role to play. Who knows what all of this was supposed to play out and how? But again, only Zach knows. He has the plan. He knows what he's doing, and in due time, hopefully we get to see it. And hopefully it is on HBO Max, because I think that that's what's gonna come. Honestly, let's see. All right. How do you feel Zack Snyder did the DC Absolute Universe? That would be awesome. That would be awesome, honestly. That would be right up his alley, because it's that dark, serious tone, and if they're doing that in the comics, yo, Zack is perfect to do that. That would be awesome to do that. Um, do you know Ryan Reynolds will return as Green Lantern? Yeah, he's supposed to. He was supposed to for the Snyder cut, but again, everything got screwed up. But yeah, I know he'll come back. One, money. Two, I mean, he'll do the, like, for sure he'll come back. That's not even a question. There's no doubt. WB dropped the ball because pop culture should have been making references to Darkseid instead of Thanos. Yeah, exactly. When you look at it, Darkseid, just the name alone, is fear. Thanos is like, what? Thanos? Yeah, I don't know. Darkseid is way scarier than Thanos. Yeah, big time. Big time. 100%. Clowns were saying Thanos was this generation's Darth Vader. What a joke. Yeah, true. Completely agree with you on that. I wouldn't mind that. I'd rather be ruled by Thanos than Darkseid. That's how scary he is. Yeah, exactly. Like Darkseid, yo, just when you see him, just seeing him, not even hear him, just seeing him is like, yeah, all right, yeah, like, all right, I don't want to go against you, type of thing. Is Yeah, he's scary. That's Dark Side, and that's what it is. Chris, what up, appreciate you for watching also. Yeah, it's wild. It's like, that's why, like I said, everything that James Gunn is doing from the beginning, it was all about him just deleting the Snyderverse. I don't care what anybody tells me. Since the beginning, since he came on board with the Suicide Squad, and he took out Captain Boomerang, and he did what he did in that movie, it was clear James Gunn was on a mission to completely, it's gonna be a strong word, but to eradicate the Snyderverse. That's exactly what he wanted to do, and he has done it. He has done it. And it's like, yo, like, this jerk literally, that was his mission, and he succeeded in the mission. And it sucks for him, because now he's about to again feel the power of the true fans, the customers, consumers all over, because people are not watching. People are not interested. The interest is lost already. And then James Gunn comes out with excuses saying that, oh, people are tired because of superhero fatigue. No, there's not. People don't want trash. That's all. They're more focused on, having Peacemaker replace Batman and be focused on orgies, and have dick jokes and all this raunchy, perverted sickness. That's what they're pushing, just agendas. That's okay. We could tolerate that. But screw the fans and screw everybody that wants quality, right? That's a no-no. We can't have that. Screw us because we want quality. You can't do that. You just can't do that to the fans. And that's what this industry has become. Marvel is doing it for years. Not for a time. For years now, Marvel has been shilling, has been catering to, to the agenda side. They've bended both knees, and now WB, they've bended both knees, and who would have thought? But, as the motto goes, go woke, go broke. You already know. We've already proven that. And it's time to show James Gunn, yo, you want to go woke with all this crap? You're about to go broke. And they're going down. They are going down with all their agenda nonsense. And this is why James Gunn doesn't want to do the Batman 2. He's trying to delay it as much as he can. And don't be surprised if there's also another delay coming around the corner. Because, again, while James Gunn's in power, he's going to do everything that he can to try to put his projects up ahead in front of everybody's eyes. Because screw everybody if we're going to have two Batmans. And knowing James Gunn with his ego, he's not going to tolerate that. He's not going to be like, yeah, Matt Reeves, you can have your Batman while I'm working on my Batman. He's just saying things just to say it so he can look good in front of everybody. Oh, but Matt Reeves is doing his thing. It's not gonna be connected. It's not gonna be part of the DCU. Yeah, you're just trying to tell us that it is going to be part of the DCU because everything James Gunn says is always the opposite. Remember that. Everything that James Gunn says, it's always the opposite. Gunn wants to be Snyder so bad. Yeah, he's desperate. The Pissmaker viewing numbers will be garbage. Yeah, they're gonna lie on it. You know, they're already lying about it that it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, WB owns most of Rotten Tomatoes, so of course it's gonna be 100%. They can fix that. You know, they're just trying to make themselves look good. But yeah, it's crazy. James Gunn fanboy can say all they want. DC never be dark. Yes, they were in the comics. Had dark moments. Yeah, yeah, they've always been dark, but they've softened up. I think Marvel is going to get darker and make money, while DC is going to be bright and light and lose money. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Things are starting to change and they're starting to shift. And yeah, I agree with you with that. I've been seeing that for a while now. That they're trying to do that so they can, try to be like the old DC and things like that. But let's see how long that lasts because Marvel's another one too that, in the end they switch and things just can flip upside down. I think Marvel is going to get darker. Yeah. James Gunn fans attacking you on Twitter and losing. LOL. Yeah, that's how they are. That's just how they are. They come at me all the time. I just ignore them and stuff like that. I don't even care, honestly. Gunn is a liar. Yep, that's exactly who he is and what he is. James Gunn, all he wants to do is make a joke out of DC because he doesn't really care about it. And hold on, and he retconned the season one ending with DC Justice League cameo with the Justice Gang. Yeah, that's how pathetic the name is, Justice Gang. How do you go from Justice League to Justice Gang? It's like it's pathetic. Honestly, it's really embarrassing. WB could have did Elseworld, Gunn do his thing, Snyder do his thing, others do their to make more money. Oh well, yeah, exactly. They could have done so much to make even more money, but again, it's just dumbass WB just being dumb, like they straight up think that they know what's best for business, but in reality, it's just been costing them. Instead of them making money, they're just losing more and more money. But screw them, that's what they get. It's pretty wild when it comes to that and stuff like that. The word gang has negative connotations to it. Yeah, yeah, completely. Just that word alone, it's not appealing. It really isn't. Wow, promote gangs smart. Exactly, that's what James Gunn's all about. And if you put it together, they're just pushing an agenda. That's all. It's all agendas that they're pushing. Gangs, orgies. mm, you know they don't care about the quality, they just care about pushing agendas. you know Making Peacemaker a bisexual. Get what I'm saying? You see where the agendas connect the dots, how it's all adding up. That's exactly what they're doing. This is why, like I've been telling y'all, I'm working still on my comic, trying to get that out by sometime next month in September. And it's just bringing good quality back again, good entertainment, badass entertainment most of all. And I know it's not for everybody, but it's okay. I don't want to cater to everybody. I just want to cater to fans that will appreciate and will like the content that I'm going to be bringing and going to be putting into the work that I'm making with this comic. Because I'm telling you right now, this whole, woke era, that's already come to an end. And when you have all these shows just mad, it just proves and it shows you that that's not what people want. People just want good entertainment. That's it. Jurassic World Rebirth, look how high it's past. I think over 840 million at the box office, but Rotten Tomatoes won't tell you that. The fake show media won't tell you that. All these paid shows, they won't tell you that because they just don't want to acknowledge where good quality is at. And that's why, like I say, look, what I'm working with this comic, like I've told y'all, is going to be very inspired by Zack Snyder, is going to be inspired by David Ayer, is going to be inspired by Michael Bay. All of the stuff that I tend to talk about on this channel, and if you enjoy and you like that, this comic book is going to be for you. If you're not into any of those three directors or that style or whatever it is, this comic that I'm working on is not for you. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You know, but then when people come and start talking all this smack, it's because it's showing you, yo, they fear quality. That's what it is. And I want to bring quality back. I want to be part of bringing good quality, good entertainment back. because you can still run a business and keep the fans happy and still make money. It's how you go about on it. And when you have these greedy corporations that they've been milking artists, they've been milking the system, and they've been robbing us, the consumer, the fan, the customer, it just tells you what they're all about. They're only about cash grabbing quick. And when you have the video game industry tanking, the comic industry going down, and now the movie division, that's telling you everything because people are just tired. Because people just want good, solid entertainment. And when you don't give them that, guess what? You turn them away and then you lose customers. And this is why, like I said, Zack is still making movies. The Snyderverse lives, and that's all that matters. Everything else, in due time, will happen. It will come. This is why you see that all these James Gunn fans are upset, because it bothers them, because they know they can't stop it. You imagine the Snyderverse gets restored on HBO Max. What are they going to say? They're going to keep on crying and they're going to keep on complaining because they're going to be like, oh, well, it went to streaming while we're in the theatrical release and this and that. Count your days too, because eventually everything is going to be on streaming, unfortunately. The future is going to be all streamed. And now you have James Gunn saying, oh, the future projects won't be hitting streaming the way that Superman did. Look here, you bozo. That was your big moment and you lost. That's it. The damage is already done. You had yourself to prove and you proved nothing, just like what you are. Nothing. James Gunn is just a copy and paste. He's a wannabe Zack Snyder and he'll never be. He should just stick to what he's good at, keep his own originality. But no, he's too focused on trying to be like Zack Snyder and he knows that he'll never be it. And this was his moment to do what he did. And unfortunately, James Gunn did it. He was able to delete and erase the Snyderverse. But that doesn't mean that you can't go and continue it somewhere else. Because if HBO Max and Comcast want to do DC alternative content, I'm telling you right now, the opportunity and the door is right there. The same way, like in Peacemaker, you see that door that he opens and he goes through a multiverse type of thing. What do you think? The same thing can't happen? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And if y'all want to have variants, let's play and let's make it happen. That's what I'm telling y'all. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. It's not over. Until we hear Zack Snyder himself say, hey, drop it. Let's move on. We will stop at nothing. That's, where we stand and how things are going to be going and things like that. So, you know, it's just a matter of time. That's all it is. It's yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Jeremy. James Gunn not even using Dark Side. That tells you something too. That tells you something. See what I'm saying? So it's like while James Gunn is doing what he's doing, all right, that's cool. Don't touch Darkseid. That's it. You can go ahead and touch the other characters, but you can't touch Darkseid because there's only one Darkseid in this whole universe of multiverses or whatever. It's still the same Darkseid. James Gunn can't go and change that. What he's gonna do? Oh, that's not canon, and now his version. Yo, come on. You're gonna do more damage to your name, to the brand, and what it's already caused and stuff like that. If Snyder was to come back, I bet James Gunn fanboys will cry to their mom. Yeah, they will be like straight up having a mental breakdown. Straight up, they wouldn't even know what they'll be raging left and right, day and night, just straight up crying rivers, crying oceans, because once they see that the Snyderverse is back, they know that nobody's gonna be watching their crap of DCU with James Gunn, and the DCU has their days numbered, honestly. Ready the Armada. Exactly. We've been ready. We've been waiting. And, honestly, I'm telling you right now, things are about to change. And, it's just a matter of time. That's all it is. But in the meantime, like I said, this is why I'm doing the comic that I'm doing, inspired by David Ayer and inspired by Zack Snyder, because I want to bring that style, original characters, a new, different universe that's going to be mines and stuff like that, and bringing all that still into this where we can all still enjoy, while these fake fans are out there enjoying what James Gunn's doing and all this trash and all this flop and all this slop. We'll be enjoying good content that's going to be new, it's going to be different, it's going to be badass, and it's going to be very entertaining which is the keyword. This is why I'm still working on this, trying to get it ASAP for y'all. Hopefully, sometime in September, it should be ready. That's the goal where I'm aiming at right now. So I'm working on the pages so we can have, so if y'all want to start supporting it and stuff like that, because of course this is all gonna take funding and money, in other words, so we can put all this and bring it faster and ASAP and things like that. So like I said, I already have two official pages that I'm gonna release, and I'm gonna give y'all a taste of what's to come. I'm gonna put the words so y'all can read and things like that. I'm probably gonna throw another one so y'all can get a third page to enjoy. And I'm seeing a lot of positive support and stuff like that, which is good because it motivates me. And once that's already set, I'm probably gonna have that maybe within the next few days. I'll bring that to you guys so y'all can see. I will be uploading it onto the website and stuff like that. So the website is actually still being worked on and things like that. So all of that's gonna have the updates and the links and things like that. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to finally share that with y'all, and you can actually see the official images of what it's gonna be looking like. With the set comic of what's to come. The first one's gonna be released digital just because it's faster. You can get it right on the spot. Everybody's gonna be able to get it. I'm gonna make it available to everybody all over the world. I'm not gonna be on that bullshit where it's like, oh, it's only exclusive for the US, or it's only exclusive for this country. Nah, screw that. It's gonna be available as long as you have, internet and you can connect and download. You should be fine. You should be good. And there shouldn't be no problem. I'm gonna have it just in English because just mainly that's the language that I have it in. I'm looking into probably having it translated later. Um, I do speak Spanish, so in case you're wondering, I do speak Spanish. But it's just again going back and changing it and adding the words and stuff. So for that language, I might have a Spanish version also, so that way people can pick and choose. So if anybody wants to help out or want to be involved, email me, let me know, because like I said, all this once it starts picking up, I do want to bring it in different languages and stuff, so everybody can enjoy it in their language and however they want and things like that. But even with the images alone, you're gonna be able to enjoy it and things like that. So it's going the audio part, yeah, I want to have something with the audio. I'm looking into that now, and I've spoken to a few people that I know that they want to get into voice acting. I know some that actually are voice actors. Nobody that's really known in things, but I do know some anime voice actors. So you might be surprised. Anything could come from this. This is why I'm telling you, I do have a few plugs. So I'm gonna talk to some of my people, and I'm probably gonna try to see if I can do something short, something where we can all enjoy it with that aspect and things like that. But yeah, I'm looking into stuff like that where it's gonna have something like an audio, and of course something with the visuals so you can just see it and hear it too. So like I said, I have some good plans, simple things that are going to be doable in the beginning, and as things continue to progress and pick up and grow, and of course with everybody's support. So keep that in mind also, because this is going to need each and everybody's support, because of course, like any business, and I'm trying to keep it as low as possible in cost so we can all enjoy it and we can all benefit together, in the sense of you guys get more content, the money's coming in, we're able to push the next project, go to the next thing, it's being funded, cool, and we can move faster. Because like I said, once this one's done, I'm already starting to think about issue 2 and what I want to go about on that issue, and how to bring in the next character of the story. Because like I told y'all, I kind of have already an idea of what and where this is going to go, and seeing from where I'm looking at it right now and what I've spoken to a few people, they're like, yo, this is something solid you got right here. So maybe something is happening in the making right now. Probably, like this is probably gonna go somewhere big from what everybody's telling me. So I'm just like I'm just taking things one step at a time and just building with that, and then going to the next thing, because there are plans for bigger things, because once these things start picking up, I want to do much more big things, because like I said, now moving forward, I am the studio. I am the one that approves, disapproves, or whatever is stuff like that. And of course, getting the feedback from everybody is the most key and important part. This is why I put out these polls and I ask y'all, what do you want? Do you like this? because from that I'm gathering the information. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the statistics, I'm looking at the comments and all that stuff, and it's telling me, okay, I have an idea of what, this is what the audience wants. You see what I'm saying? I'm doing my survey, I'm doing my marketing, if you want to say. So once I take that into consideration and I put it, then I'm like, all right, cool. This is what people are asking or they're looking forward to. So, that way I can determine, okay, boom, like with this we can go forward, and this for sure is gonna, they're gonna like this, and like I said, this is why, like I said, now the main goal right now for me is first putting the first issue, all 32 pages, and of course including cover and stuff like that. It's gonna be digital, just so it's faster to get to you, in the sense of, okay, you bought it, right now it's digital. I am planning on doing a physical release. So that probably, we're what, in August, September. I'm probably gonna be looking into that already, probably sometime soon, because I kind of have an idea more or less of what's needed. But like I said, first I want to put out the digital one, just to see, what comes from that and stuff like that, because I will be doing a physical, but that one is probably going to be like an exclusive, in the sense where that's probably going to just be by pre-orders, in the sense of, like whatever gets ordered, that's what I'm probably going to put out, print on demand, if you want to say. Just because I know that that's going to, one, guarantee you your copy, and I'm going to sign those things, no additional charge. I'm just going to include it and hook y'all up and stuff like that. And, I'm not going to do that whole like, oh, variant covers and all that bullshit. No, I'm just going to do one cover where it's going to be the main cover, and I'll sign it and, hook y'all up with all that stuff, and probably doing a t-shirt for it and stuff like that, something pretty cool, to go along with it and things like that. So again, like first digital, and then the next thing that I want to look into is actually getting the physical, because I know, like, I want to say from the top of my head now, I have two local print shops, and one of them is like probably like 3 hours away from where I stay at, which I don't care. I don't mind driving over to picking them up and coming back. But it is what it is. I gotta do what I gotta do, because if I order that by shipping, like the shipping alone is gonna cost way too much, just because they gotta ship that thing like on a pallet and stuff like that. So yeah, so just in case you're wondering, yeah, the numbers the numbers on the comics, I'm looking at a good number and things like that. So there's another shop that I also have that they're local and stuff like that, but I want to see if they're able to pull that type of work that I'm looking for, exclusive and things like that. So I'm just working out, deals, and seeing what's the best when it comes to like trying to keep it as low as possible, but be able to like get it to your hands with a physical copy, because I know a lot of people still want physical media, and I can't wait, honestly. I really can't wait and stuff like that. And then probably issue two, or probably maybe I'll put out another issue of it. I'll probably hire somebody that I know and be like, hey, look, add some color to these pages. I have a friend of mine that he draws, him and his brother. They're real good artists and stuff, and I'll probably just give them the art that I have and have them do all the color, just so we can have like a black and white version, the original, and then probably put out another one that's gonna be in color and stuff like that. So, I'm still looking into that right now, but for sure, first things first, I'm going to be bringing y'all probably three pages from the actual comic itself within the next few days. So look out for that. Before I put it up, of course, I'm gonna let y'all know and stuff like that, so you know where to go and you can check it out and stuff like that. I'm telling y'all, I'm excited. I'm excited to finally be able to share this with y'all. The sketches you saw the other day that I did, the one that somebody was like, oh, is inspired by Black Adam. I'm like, I guess if you want to say, um, that page is finally done. That's fine. I just finished it, this morning, like sometime like around like 2:30 in the morning, just so y'all can see that I'm working. I was like, yo, like I'm not sleepy. I just decided to draw, and it was like straight up 2:30 in the morning and stuff like that. So I'm putting in work. I'm doing what I gotta do, to try to bring in, this stuff to y'all as soon as possible. And like I said, very soon we will be able to enjoy, Rebel Defenders, and this is what it's all gonna come down to. While James Gunn's doing what he's doing with his DCU, majority of us, we're not interested. We don't want that. We want more stuff that's inspired by Zack Snyder, David Ayer. That's where I'm gonna be bringing all that stuff, and this is all gonna be very inspired and very, very focused within that tone and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not gonna be like, oh, silly jokes and stupid comedy. No, no, no. It's gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be for mature audiences, for fans that can actually enjoy what badass comics are all about. Good, solid entertainment like it was in the 90s. I'm gonna bring that all to y'all. And that's something this industry has been lacking for years. And it's time. It's time that we bring, that good type of entertainment back and stuff like that. And I'm working into other projects. I won't say what they are yet, but I'm looking into other projects. So once this does get announced, with the official trailer and the reveal, I'm trying to work on something special for y'all. That's why I'm trying to look into the time. It's just the timing. Right now, it's just for me the timing. So if I can do it by, I want to say sometime next month in September, if not, then I'll just put out the like I said, the first images that you guys are gonna get with the comic, and then while I get the other things prepped, it'll probably be sometime in October that I'll be putting out the next thing that it's still with the comic, but it's something extra that I'm trying to work on, just exclusive, so y'all can be like, damn, okay, I see exactly where this is heading. And so, like, I'm in the lab cooking, I'm just preparing this dish really good, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to give y'all, the main course, the appetizer. The appetizer is going to be the first 3 pages. Once you get the real comic, that's going to be, the main course. And of course, I'm trying to bring in dessert in there. I'm just talking symbolically, just so y'all can see, yo, like, yeah, I've been doing my work behind the scenes and stuff like that. And like I said, I just want to bring something good for all of y'all to enjoy and stuff like that. And like I said, I can't wait to finally bring that, and finally be able to share with y'all the first 3 pages coming soon. And like I said, that will probably be sometime next week. So just so you can know exactly that that's going to be dropping real soon and stuff like that. The first issue is going to be 32 pages. So that's the standard thing in the industry. 32 pages. I was going to do it less, but I was like, nah, you know what? If we're going to do it right, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it like in the industry, 32 pages. That's what the minimum, pages are in a comic book and stuff like that. So once this one's fully done and everything's already, like 100% complete, then I'm going to start looking into doing issue 2. I have ideas. I'm already like marinating on some thoughts and stuff like that. So the juices are flowing. The ideas are already there. I'm just looking at, okay, where this one ends, the first one, while it's already setting up issue 2. And the continuity is all going to be straightforward. It's not going to be like, like, oh, 3 years later, 3 hours later, 3 days later, 3 minutes later, like that bullshit that James Gunn did. Nah, this is all just gonna be just so you can have an idea. It's gonna be straight up like with John Wick. If you've seen John Wick, when the movie finishes, the next one starts. It literally picks up where it left off. That's how I'm gonna end up doing it. So that way, when you read it, it's not gonna be confusing. It's gonna be like, yo, which one do I pick up? Which one do I read? Nah, nah, it's gonna be easy, like manga. Like, oh, pick up issue 7, and this is where this happens, or pick up issue 3. This is where this one is introduced. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna be organized. It's gonna be clean in the sense where anybody can pick up, one of these comics and pick up from the beginning, the middle, or what's currently. Hey, this is the newest issue type of thing. Because like I said, I have other plans with it, and once everything just starts going and flowing, like everything's just gonna be running really smooth and stuff like that. So it's gonna be nice and things like that. So uh nah, 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 nah. I'm not gonna have John Wick in there. Yeah, right. I'm gonna have some type of characters, if that's what you're saying. Like I said, inspired by different things, and it's gonna be obvious when you see it and stuff like that. Clearly, it's my take on these characters and things like that. But I'm sure you all are gonna enjoy it, and that's the important part. That's what I'm trying to get to, to keep everybody entertained, and be able to say, hey, look, this is what's on the way. This is what's coming. Because once I get through that halfway of the book, did putting the shade, the markers, and shadows, all that, that's the least of the problem. That's quick. I could do that quick. It's just actually drawing, because you got to keep in mind, I'm drawing. I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, damn, I'm drawing 3 times these characters, or this page, or whatever it is that I'm doing on a panel. And you have to keep in mind, if I'm doing 32 pages, 3 times 32, add that up. That's a lot. That's how many times I have to draw the same thing over and over. Just because I have to draw it in pencil, I have to draw it now in ink, and then I have to go back in ink and add the shadows and stuff like that. Now imagine adding the colors. That's 4 times that I'm going through it. But this is why later, like I said, once things pick up and it starts getting more established, I'm gonna have to hire, like artists and stuff like that. So, like I said, I have something very planned out, something small, but at the same time, it's gonna start, like Joker said in The Dark Knight, growth for expansion, the same thing, it's all gonna expand and just grow like any business and things like that. But first things first, let's start off, small on what we're focused with this first issue and things like that. And like I said, I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to bring it and stuff like that. So this is gonna be dope. I can't wait. I can't wait to see everybody's reactions, feedbacks, and of course the trolls are gonna be talking. But even I'm excited to see what the trolls are gonna say. Just because it's fun to read the comments, and see how sometimes people just say their opinion. So I find that interesting. It's just cool, like I don't know. To me, I have thick skin. It doesn't bother me and stuff like that. And over on Twitter, people are straight up calling me out. They're like, "Yo, your comic ain't shit." Like, I'm like, "Yo, it's not even out." It's like, damn, they're already like triggered. Imagine when it's already fully released, and then I tell them, "Yo, this is straight up, Zack Snyder and David Ayer inspired." And once I have it officially released, I'm telling y'all right now, I will go on Twitter and I will tag David Ayer and I will tag Zack Snyder and be like, "Yo, you two are the blueprint," and they will know that I'm straight up building on what they've already established, and I can recognize that because while the mainstream media is faking it and they don't like to acknowledge it, we have to give what credit is due. And with that, the fans, the customers, the consumers that are part of this amazing community are going to be able to say, you know what? Damn, damn, he actually had the balls to actually tell them, yo, you're the blueprint. Meanwhile, you don't have studios that are paying them to actually tell them. And again, you never know what can come from this. Like Ben Affleck said, anything is possible. Well, with that, my friends, I want to end it. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'll come back again tomorrow sometime and we'll chop it up against some stuff and who knows what we could talk about and things like that. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for watching. Hell yeah, you already know it. Zach's influence is everywhere. That's why the haters are always triggered. Hell yeah, you already know it, my friends. Well, y'all stay well. Have a good night wherever you are around the world. Stay safe out there. And I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.